Welcome to Laid Back Gardening with Blue Dog Ventures, where we keep things simple, practical, and honestly, a little against the grain. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by all the gardening advice out there, what to prune, what to feed, what to water when, this series is for you. We're not master gardeners, just real people growing real food, and this is how we do it. No stress, no fluff, just what works. Hey guys, this is TJ and Sarah back with Blue Dog Ventures. We've been out in the garden all day working, and me and TJ got to talking about how we grow our garden, and we got to talking about how everybody seems to try to overthink and overcomplicate gardening. If you read all the books and you go by everything that you see on the internet or YouTube videos on how to grow tomatoes, for example, there's so many rules that everybody goes by. So we decided we'd start this new series called Laid Back Gardening with Blue Dog Ventures. And we thought what better way to start it off than with episode 1 being our tomato growing method that breaks all the rules. You hear, don't water from above. You've got to mulch your tomatoes.
Different types of fertilizer you put on, different types of pesticides you put on, pulling the suckers off, all kind of stuff. We don't necessarily do all that stuff. That's what we're here to talk to y'all about today. We do our stuff the way we've been doing. This is our 5th year being together and doing a garden together, and we've had some flaws and some trials with it, and got them figured out, but we still don't do all the hype what everybody talks about. But we're gonna talk to y'all a little bit today about how we do it our way. Not saying everything you read and what other folks do is probably not helpful, but we saying what we do works. Had tons and tons of tomatoes every year, and we don't do all that stuff. But we're gonna talk to you, go through a couple different steps of what you see on the internet and what you read, and
just to let you know that, like I say, we're real people that get out here and just garden the way that we know how, and like you said, we live and learn every year, but we definitely don't do I guess all the rules to growing tomatoes. And so number 1 would be, I guess, watering from above. You hear people preach, always water your tomatoes from the ground or the bottom using soaker hoses or drip irrigation. We've never done that. We have always used overhead sprinklers. In fact, we got them 2 just mounted over here on the side with top of 2 T-posts. And we've never had an issue with blight. It's never caused a problem for us, and we come out here and we eyeball it. If the plants look thirsty, looking like they need a drink of water, we turn on the sprinkler, and we do it in the late afternoon. We never water in the middle of the day. We just don't think that's a smart way to water. We always choose to do it late in the afternoon. That way it has the whole night to soak into the ground, and the sun's not blaring and drawing it back up and evaporating what you're putting down.
Going into that, speaking about watering at night, as you can see right now, I think it's around 4 o'clock. Our garden, I know the morning time sunshine is the best time, but the way we plant our garden, and everything works out perfect. This is the best spot that we've had since we've been moving around. But around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, this right here is completely shaded. It starts on this end and works its way over, so it gets all the morning sun, all that hot afternoon sun that just terrible on your plants and burn your leaves up. They're covered. So that's
and for those of you that might just be joining us, we are located in central South Georgia. So we have a very, very hot, humid summer here.
Yes, today was that way.
Yeah, the sun is brutal. Like you said, so this setup here, where the location in the yard where we've had them here for the last 2 or 3 years.
This is our 3rd year.
3rd year here. And while we're on this setup in this area, as you can hear, we're very close to the chickens right over here.
They're mad because we're in their area.
Yeah. What we do is we have a section of fence that we can peel back. And so once the garden is over and we're done with this area for the year, we peel that piece of fence back, and the chickens have this whole run for the whole winter. They are our natural fertilizers. We do not mix chickens and the garden. You will see in all your fancy garden magazines and on Pinterest that all these beautiful pictures and videos of chickens walking around in the beautiful garden.
No.
No. That doesn't happen in the real world. Chickens will
tear it up. Eat your tomatoes.
Demolish your garden. And when they don't come just get the tomatoes off one plant, they'll go down every one of these plants.
Just jump up and peck it.
And peck and destroy each fruit. I promise you. You don't want to mix chickens in your garden. I know the idea sounds amusing, but it never works. But we do use them as a major resource for our garden. Like I say, they're on this soil for the entire time that we're not producing plants on this ground, and so they keep it fertile for us. And like he said, we never fertilize the tomatoes.
We go straight in the ground, and we water them. That's the only thing we do. I mean, we have to, pesticides and go along and keep them tied up and stuff like that. But as far as anything else, chickens is fertilizer, and the water does the rest of it.
And we have another video about, over our course of years together gardening, we've tried several different support systems for the tomatoes, and we tend to come back to these cattle panels, and they just seem to be the hardiest, and you can use them year after year. They don't rot. They're made of metal, and they just offer a very sturdy support for your tomatoes. But again, like we're telling you, we're not perfectionists. We were short on cattle panels, and I don't know if you guys have priced cattle panels lately, but they have gone through the roof. These were about $65.
We dropped close to $400 for 6 cattle panels. Or these are called actual combo panels.
Which is absolutely ridiculous, and I had no idea, because I walked outside the hardware store to go get the truck to pull around, and left him at the checkout, and when he come back to the truck with the receipt, I thought, oh my Lord. But anyway, the good thing about it is we can use them year after year. So we'll just have to look at it as an investment. But we did end up short, and this is just a regular cow fence that we had. We are notorious for using what we have on hand. We will get creative in a minute.
Yeah, this fence right here actually come from when Helene come through and blowed and tore up some of our fence, and we had to replace it. And this was all bent up, warped out, but we straightened it out and run it down. It's serving the purpose just fine. And
then I'll show you some footage in before the video's over with, but there on the very end is actual panels that we repurposed out of a dog kennel that I use for housing in my chicken pen. We had some that we're not using, and so we broke those apart and used the panels down on the far end, and we'll show you those. But use what you have.
Also, you see right here behind Mama, we have to show you that too.
Oh yeah. Sadie, she was a little busy bee out here with us earlier. She had to head out. Her and her dad were going to the river, but she had this brainstorm for, we planted some cherry tomatoes. Just got some more plants, and she come up with that ingenious idea with some resources that we had on hand here, just trash that we never throw away, and we'll show you that a little more in depth in just a minute.
All right, we said we was going to show you this trellis right here. We forgot to show it to you, but this right here is some old rebar we had, put it in the ground. These right here are PVC pipe, a little bit had. She called a while back, someone she knew had some PVC pipe that they would use for making something with that was, I'm not sure, but it had screw holes in it and all that, so you couldn't use this pipe for running water lines or anything. So we pile everything down there. We got a big spot, and we'll go down there and dig through it, and this is what we come up with. This old wire right here, it had vines and stuff growed up in it. It's 36-inch, what they call this, the horse fence or
Dog fence.
Dog fence, and some black tape and some zip ties, and that's what she come up with.
He made it happen.
And this is some cucumbers, and this is her little cherry tomatoes she got. She wants them to run up, and I guarantee you she'll be out here every day and weaving them through. They look kind of puny, but that's about all they had left at the hardware store. So,
like I said, it's our season for just planting's about to come to an end here in central South Georgia. So what they had left, like you said, that's looking a little puny, but it won't take them but about a week, and they'll be.
Oh yeah, we'll nurse them back up. And while we're going, we might as well go ahead and show you our other junk pile stuff that we use. And you may have some of this stuff laying around. Of course, we got the panels right here. Here's some more squash that they had that's already bloomed and look kind of rough, but we're gonna try to nurse them back to health. But here's what Mama was talking about with the panels. Old dog pen panel, ain't that what they called?
Yeah. See over here how I use these dog kennels in my my chicken pen? Like I said, they come with old tarp tops, and over the years they've just disintegrated, and he replaced that one with some more junk tin that we had. We reuse everything, but it's just one of those that's been broke down.
There's some of the damage from the worms that we fit to spray for.
Yep.
And we also have some more of the dog fence here just for an end, and some more of these panels. And like we showed you a while ago down there, the horse fence. And that's about it.
And that's a tour of our little tomato patch. We'll show you the sprinkler setup right quick too.
These babies right here is a man's best friend, next to duct tape and electrical tape.
We love some zip ties. We use them in the chicken pen.
So there's a sprinkler. You just got it stuck up here on the fence post, and this one sprinkler will reach the whole garden and give the chickens a little bit of cool, fresh water.
But we were also going to touch on the no mulch. We have never mulched our tomato plants.
One time we laid down the black felt.
The weed block.
Yeah.
Yes, he's correct. We did. But since that one time, and I think that was our first time, we have never gone to that trouble ever again.
Because our tomatoes are, the last couple years in here, I've had the tomatoes. We'll have to show you a little clip. I mean, I'm standing in them and they're above my head. And well, matter of fact, last year, sitting right here, and that was no felt, no bark, no pine straw, no anything.
No mulch, just bare dirt like you see. But he does keep it tilled between the rows good, once grass, and we do a lot of hand picking of the grass and the weeds up next to the fence. But in our experience, mulching is not a necessity for good, bountiful tomato plants. It's just not for us here. But like I say, again, and the concept behind the mulch is keeping your soil temp cooler and retaining the moisture. But like he said, this this is blocked from the brutal afternoon sun. So, you know, they have a cooler temp in the afternoon when it's so brutal anyway, and then we always water right before dark so that it can soak in all night and keep the ground moist.
Yeah.
Keep the ground moist.
And what words you was looking for there? Kermit's hold on there.
Kermit?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got one over there too?
Yeah, right here at my foot.
We've discovered that the old toad frogs, we kept seeing these little small burrows everywhere, over there under the squash and now in the tomatoes, and we was like, what is that? They don't seem to be hurting the plants or anything, but we figured it out today. It's toad frogs.
Yeah, we got chickens for fertilizer and frogs to keep pests.
Yeah, they're friendly garden visitors, so we're gonna leave them alone. But
yeah, speaking on that, we can jump into what we use for pesticide. A lot of we've used it in the past, the Dalmatian earth, the Dalmatian, however you call it.
Diatomaceous earth.
Yeah, that word.
And don't get me wrong, it works great, keeping, you know, the insects off the plants. However, you will go broke buying it because the rain or the sprinkler washes it off. It's just a powdery substance, and so your first shower of water, it's gone. And we have tried the organic route because we are, you know, anytime we can and it's practical, we like to use, you know, all natural in anything in life. But as many of you know, sometimes it's just not practical. And we've tried the homemade organic spray soaps. We've tried, like I said, we've used the diatomaceous earth, but it's just not practical because, like I said, it's gone with the water.
In an instant, if you don't like, we've planted 100 tomato plants this year. That's not including what Mama there, she grew some from seeds, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then like these we went and bought today. We wasn't gonna do cherry tomatoes, but in the last minute we decided to go get some. The hardware store was about sold out, so we're gonna have to nurse some of these back to health, but we're gonna.
Yeah, it's getting kind of late in the season here in our area. We're zone 8B, but all these good, healthy, bigger plants that you see. You remember when we planted them?
Late.
I'll drop that on the screen when I go to edit this video. I can't remember the exact date, but a lot later than we normally do because
end of April. Closer. It was like a month off from, exactly a month away from
when
April
we normally plant.
Yeah.
So we were extremely late, due mainly because of extreme wet weather. We had a really wet early spring this year. But all these you see, we also tried a little something different this year. We normally buy the bigger plants in the 6-packs, but we bought the bundles. They came in bundles of 25, I think, and they were very small plants, but much more cost efficient. And as you can see, it doesn't take them long. Once they grab hold, they do just as good as the rest of them. And I'm sorry, I messed you up on your insecticide.
No, I think we had, if I ain't mistaken, looking, I think out of 100 plants that we planted, we lost one, and they was small, they wasn't big. So
yeah.
And then insecticide, yeah. We forget what we're talking about. This is what we use. Like I said, we've tried all the natural stuff, and her speaking on the Dalmatian earth, or however you say it, would be fine if you planted 3 or 4 tomato plants. You had them up in a bucket or just a small area, but we plant to put up food for the year, a bunch to give away. We got a bunch of family that loves to eat, and they don't have to plant a garden. We take care of it because we like it, we love it. But we use this word. Well, you can't see it.
Malathion.
Malathion. Works great. Sprayed the tomatoes one time last year. Matter of fact, we're going to spray them today because we noticed going along tying up, or Mama, she done all that work today. She touched every plant out here. So there was a bunch of little worms on here.
Yes, there was. And I actually found one small hornworm. We normally don't have a huge problem with the hornworms for whatever reason, but I did find a little small one. But we have the little, again, we're not up to par on the proper names of everything, but it's the little small, what I like to call what look like little army worms. The army worms that used to get in the hay around here. They're real small, and some of the plants will just eat up with them. So it's definitely time to spray. And like he said, usually it's one spray and it'll last.
I sprayed one time last year, and that's it, and didn't have a problem. And we didn't have any problem with the little worms last year. We had tomato worms last year trying to eat tomatoes up and getting into the tomatoes. And I sprayed one time, and that was it. So, and then we watered several times after, and we always wash our fruit before we eat, our vegetable fruit, whatever, before we eat it. So. And
I peel my tomatoes, my slicing tomatoes. A lot of people don't, which I know that it can absorb into it too. But like I say, it's just not practical for us on the organic spray. It just hasn't worked out, and we may do a little more research. And if you guys, if you've got suggestions for us, like I say, you see the multitude that like you said, this is 100 plants here, and then we went this weekend and got some straggly whatever they had left of the cherry tomatoes, because Sadie decided she wanted some cherry tomatoes and wanted to build the trellis there for those. But drop it in the comments. Let us know if you have some suggestions, because like I said, we prefer the all natural route anytime we can take it and it's practical for us.
Just the remedies that we've come up with hadn't worked for us.
There was something else I was going to say to that, but I can't remember.
Yeah, there's something I was going to say too, and I can't remember.
We both feel like we're forgetting something on that topic we were just discussing, so we may jump back to it. We will jump ship on you and ramble from time to time, so bear with us. But the other thing that we were going to touch on was, a lot of people tell you to prune your tomatoes and to prune the sucklings. Is that what they call?
Yeah.
And we don't do that either. We never have. The concept behind doing that is that you're conserving the plant's energy by breaking those off to produce bigger fruit. But if you leave those sucklings, they do produce flowers and they will produce tomatoes for you. And we're not trying to win a county fair. We're not trying to grow ridiculously big tomatoes. We prefer just the average size tomato for a good old tomato sandwich and slicing and having it with some peas. And we put up a lot of our tomatoes. But with that said, we're out here to grow food to put on the table. We're not here for big, huge show tomatoes. And so in our opinion, we're defeating the purpose when we're pruning those sucklings. That's not to say that you shouldn't do it if that's what you're trying to achieve. But for us, we just let them grow. We just leave them in their natural state. We do put a lot of work and time and effort into keeping them staked or upright and supported though. And we try to keep the leaves so they get good circulation. We've never really had a problem with any of the diseases. That's another thing I was going to touch on too, is you'll hear a lot of people say blossom end rot, that if you don't use gypsum, then you're going to have blossom end rot. We've had a couple cases here and there of the blossom end rot, but nothing major. And there's also different theories out there on that, but for me and him, this is what we believe. There is all the calcium that these plants need, because that's what it is caused from, is the plants being deficient in calcium. Did I say that right? Deficient?
Yep.
Deficient in calcium. But there's all the calcium these plants need in the ground, especially thanks to the chickens beforehand. But you've got to properly water the tomatoes to move that calcium from the soil up into the plant and to that fruit. So with that said, we also are very attentive to the need for water on these plants. We're out here in this garden every day. Just like I check the chickens every day. If you've watched some of my chicken videos, you know how adamant I am in telling you guys that you have got to put your eyes on those chickens every day. Same with the garden. I mean, we're out here every day. If we're not harvesting, or, you know, like we've got squash and zucchini coming off. As you can see, we're getting some baby tomatoes. We watch. We're looking for, like I said, any kind of pest or insect damage. We're looking if they need extra support, because as they grow, you have to constantly support that new growth.
It was just a couple of days ago I come out here and we tied up these tomatoes, or done the second tying on them, and I didn't see a worm out here. And here 2 days later, this morning, she was tying up and weaving them in, and there's worms.
Tons of worms.
So you got to keep an eye on it every day. And plus the watering deal, I think it excites us to come home and turn the water sprinkler on. If she beats me home to turn the water sprinkler on, I get jealous. So.
And we do. We've got another garden spot across back behind us here that we're fixing to. This is going to be in another one of our episodes, but we're going to plant okra and peas, and we have to alternate the sprinklers. And so you have to be very attentive to what plants need what, and you have to keep a good watering schedule. A garden is not something you can just throw in the ground and forget about. That's not going to work for you. It's a lot of work, takes a lot of time and effort, but it's something that we thoroughly enjoy, and we enjoy doing it together. And yeah, Sadie also loves to be out here with us. My daughter, she's a green thumb, and she has her flower garden, and it's something that we can all get out here and do together and enjoy and spend time together. And for us, that makes it all worthwhile, especially while it's putting food on that table.
Yeah, you're going to enjoy a meal. We're sitting around talking, and you grab a slice of, reach in the refrigerator and grab a couple of sliced up tomatoes, and not only that, it's teaching the kids what Sadie.
Absolutely.
She loves it. Some of our kids enjoy it, some of them don't. My daughter loves it. Sarah's daughter loves it. Our sons, they don't really care about the gardening part. They like to eat
it, yeah. And he's right. They are more into putting the meat on the table. Cohen, mine, he's an avid hunter and fisherman, and so is his. And they more about putting the meat on the table, and the girls are more about the vegetables and being out in the garden. But
fly by. Lost.
But other than that, the only other thing was, you'll also see a lot of people tell you not to mix your varieties. And I want to clarify, we never plant just one variety of anything.
No, I think we got beefsteaks. I think we got my mind went blank. Beefsteaks. I know
we've got Romas, cherries, Rutger.
I can't even remember
We've got Better Boys.
Yeah, Better
We've
Boys.
got, like I said, all the names escape us right this minute, but we've got several varieties out here. We didn't go with just one kind. We never do. We never go with one kind of anything. We've got different squash and zucchini, but the only thing we plant just one of is okra, and it's just whatever we happen to get. We don't use the same kind every year on that.
We got a color crayon box full of
in
our garden.
We don't we're not die hard to a particular type or anything. We like trying new stuff, and we have a grand mixture. All these tomatoes that you see, they're all different kinds. And you'll have a lot of people tell you, you can't do that. Well, as long as you're not saving the seeds, it's okay to plant whatever you want, however you want, in my opinion. I did look into and done my homework and a lot of research and taught myself how to save seeds and the cross-pollination and all of that. So in the event that we needed to start doing that practice, I absolutely have the know-how now and could do that. And I did start some of our vegetables from seed this year. That's not for me. That's not for me. Now, if we had some extravagant greenhouse to work with, yeah, I could probably handle it no problem. But trying to plant seeds for the size garden that we always produce every year, inside, in the house, in little seed trays, it just wasn't practical for us. But I did give it a try, so I can say that much. But
I'm looking here, and she did manage to have 3 tomatoes make it out of the...
Yeah, and we had some squash and zucchini
Oh yeah,
that made
squash
it.
zucchini done good, and your peppers done decent.
And some stuff we always plant from seed, like the okra we always plant from seed. We just direct sow straight into the ground. The peas, of course. But as far as starting seeds inside the house, like tomatoes, squash and zucchini, if the time comes that we need to do that, like I said, I'm relieved that I have the know-how and I feel 100% confident that I could pull it off and I could make it happen. But as long as, you know, the local hardware store is still furnishing the plants, that's what we're gonna be doing. Again, it's just what's practical and easier and more realistic for us, for the size garden that we have.
Yeah, I mean, also that a lot of that stuff takes a lot more time, and if it was to help us out, and we would do it, but we don't just do the gardening. We do. Mama's got a chicken. She's got a hen over there right now that she's just gone broody, sitting on eggs, and she does videos with it. You have to check that out. Diary of a Broody Hen. Bunch of educational videos on that. Last night we was out there frog gigging, and all day yesterday we was in kayaks going up and down the local creek here, catching brim. We do all kind of stuff, and so we love our garden and we come out here every day, but we also have other stuff we have to do in life. We have kids, we have jobs, so.
Yep, we both work full-time jobs, and we're definitely trying this YouTube very hard. We're trying to stick with it, but like I said, it comes a lot easier for us as far as the content, because this is our real life. This is what we do. It is a very, very rare occasion for me and him to sit down and watch any TV. I cannot tell you the last time we have hit the power button on our TV. It's just not something we do because we're always outside. We both enjoy being outside, and we're constantly doing something. Like you said, whether it's we're actually, you know, getting our hands dirty and working in the garden, or if we're having a day of leisure and we're actually having fun fishing, which we have fun with the garden, don't get me wrong. Everything we do, we enjoy. But like I said, we both enjoy catfishing just as much. We go to the river, we set lines, trot lines, we go up to the lake. We love catching catfish. But we're just nonstop all the time. And so as long as we've got our phone in our pocket, we try to film so you guys can come along with us. And hopefully some of them, I know some of them's just entertaining, but hopefully some of them are informative and you guys get, educational, and you guys get something out of it. But again, this is something new that we're trying, just to give put a different take on gardening out there, to let people know that's just starting out that you don't have to do it exactly by the book. We haven't for 5 years now, and we have a bountiful harvest every year. Like you said, there's trials and tribulations just like anything in life. You live and learn, you make a mistake, and you find another way to do it. But this is what works for us, and we're glad to share it with you guys. But I guess that about wraps it up for this episode. But episode 2 is already in the making, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be us putting the okra and the peas in the ground over in our other spot over here. So be sure and tune in for that. And you got anything else?
That's about it. Now, I know y'all sitting there watching me stare over there. Mama's got a chicken that's eating eggs, and we're trying to figure out which one it is.
Yes.
But yeah, that's about it. And the whole concept with the deal is behind the planting the peas and okra so late. I mean, it's not late for us. We always plant late. I think we planted the 22nd of May last year, and today's the 24th, 25th, somewhere along in there. But a lot of people think you need to plant real early, but we're planting peas this year to give away because last year our peas done so good that we feel, I mean, we got a freezer full.
And we'll show you guys too how we store things, preserve our harvest. We'll have a lot of videos on that. We'll also have a lot of videos on recipes, how we use our harvest.
We have a lot of those now on recipes.
We do. You can go check out our Good Grub playlist. We have everything from the wild game that we harvest down to our garden harvest and how we use everything in different recipes that we cook. And we're always cooking too. But like I say, just check our channel out. Go in and check out our different playlists, because some of our stuff, that's where we're a little different than others on YouTube also. This is our life, and there's a lot of different things that we do, as we just discussed, but we kind of categorize everything into playlists. So it may be that you're in the garden, but you have no interest in chickens. So that way you guys can go on there and just watch our garden videos from our gardening playlist.
Fishing.
And like I said, we have a hunting playlist, a catfishing playlist. I've got it all categorized. So if everything we do don't interest you, maybe we have something out there for you. Just check on those playlists. And if you got something from this video, we'd appreciate it if you give us a like and a thumbs up, and subscribe if we can offer you any more. And like I said, if you have any questions or if you have anything that would be helpful to us, drop it in the comments. That's what we like to use those comments for, is just passing stuff back and forth. We can learn just as much from you guys as you can learn from us. And I guess we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for watching, guys.
See ya.